Hello everyone, this is Sam from PrismScroll. Remember me? It's been a while since our last update because of multiple things. Taxes, got that finished and got that out of the way, which is really exciting. Can finally get back to work and not have to worry about that anymore. And then we had BashCon, which is we're from Toledo, Ohio, so BashCon is at Toledo University, and that was our first convention as PrismScroll to be an event. So that was interesting, and we learned a lot about what other people are doing and what people want and what people use. So it was a good experience to kind of meet with everybody. So let's get straight into the actual good stuff. So I'm just going to kind of go through the patch notes for the next update that's happening here. Basically, kind of a lot of things are happening in this update. That there's some significant UI changes, so this one will be actually kind of chock full of good stuff rather than just stuff behind the scenes. So let's get started. First things first, we're adding there's going to be 3 more options to pick from when you're making a feature. So when you press selection group, there's now going to be a feet, so you can make feet selection groups. So basically, right now the only one behind the scenes that has a feet selection is human variant, which you couldn't even create it. It's kind of something that I'm jankily doing behind the scenes. So now you can add that to anything that you want in the custom creator now with this feet option. The next one is languages. This will be really good now that we have the proficiency page, which you'll see a little bit later. And then finally tool proficiencies, which, as you know as well, is something that, so languages and tool proficiencies are something that we've not been tracking very well at all. So now having these will really be nice, and be able to have it in your features list as a selection so that you can kind of keep track of it, and as well as the proficiency page when we get to it. So basically it's just going to work the same way. If you want to select from any, then you can just be here, or you can make a subset and then create a selection group first. So that is that. I know that a couple people tried it out and were looking for languages and feats and stuff. So now that it's good to hear that people are actually playing with it and stuff like that. So all right, so while we're here, there is, and you're going to see this as well, is there's a new filtering interface. You're going to see it here. It's nice. It is very, very versatile. I really, really like it in comparison to the other list. It's so much nicer. This is going to scroll if there's more. And as you can imagine, this could go on for as many as you want. For spells, there's all the different sorting options. So you're going to be able to pick all your stuff, or you can select them all and deselect them all and stuff like that. So this is, it is so nice. It works well with landscape, portrait. So it was like I said last week when I was doing these, I'm totally obsessed with this wrapping list view. So to finally get it figured out is really great. So, and it works and looks really well, really good in my opinion anyway. So that will be nice. So that is in the custom creator as well as the compendium. So in the compendium, it's going to be a little bit more, it's going to become more, there's going to be more options when we get to like actually looking at a specific group. Then there will be like, if you look at monsters only, then you can sort by challenge rating, or sort by what kind of beast they are, things like that. But right now, basically just having the top level filter is where we're at with the source as well. So I think that will be good for the moment. So you can play with that and see how that works. So that is that. Then I can kind of show this. So while I was playing my paladin and leveled up, I figured out there was an issue with leveling up. So basically the prepared sheet, let's say you made a level 1 paladin, which I was starting my new campaign. I was a level 1 paladin Goliath, and I leveled up, and I didn't have any spells selected because paladins don't get any spells at level 1. And when I leveled up, the leveling up only looks to see if you have any spells saved. So I didn't have any saved, so it skipped the whole page on how many spells I had prepared. So I fixed that now so that it's looking for if you have prepared, you see how 4, if that is greater than 0, it's going to show this page no matter what, and then you can add them. Another thing that changed a little bit is basically it's going to search all your classes and subclasses and then look for what the highest slot value is, and then it will filter all the spells to that. So I don't want to filter it by class just yet because we don't have custom spell lists for all the classes yet. And there's some features that give you selection to random classes, and I don't want to filter it just yet. So right now I think we eliminated a lot by actually filtering it by level, and then a little bit later when we start getting a little bit more control on the custom spell lists and the classes, then we'll shrink this list more. But right now it's a lot less than it would, right? It was showing from cantrip to 9. Now it's showing from cantrip to 2. So that got improved a lot. Then there was an issue. There's some other issues with leveling up, like when subclass selections weren't getting picked after you selected it. So that's kind of hard to explain, but you would have noticed, maybe you wouldn't have noticed, but let's say you had a cleric at level 1. When you selected your subclasses, then it asked you for, you got to pick your selections, your spells or whatever. But when you leveled up to level 2, let's say you had a feature at level 2 that had a selection, it wasn't actually checking for that because programming stuff. So that should be fixed now as well. So that is good. Moving on. So another pretty huge bug that you probably should check for, and people found out, was when you created a character in character creation, your spell slots were not being set correctly. So basically it was giving you the slots for one level above what you should have been, unfortunately. So basically, if you were a paladin or get a level 1 spellcaster cleric, right, and it gave you the slots for level 2 instead of level 1 because of an indexing thing. So I forgot to subtract 1. So that's kind of bad. There's a lot of spellcasters that are OP out in the world now, unfortunately. So make sure you check that. That should also be up, like it wasn't updating your spell slots either when you leveled up. So I looked into that, and that should be working better now. If you don't touch your spell slots, like if you don't change them, if you don't change the totals, then leveling up will now update your spell slots. But if you change the totals, what you would have because they were set wrong, then if you do change the totals, it won't update it because it thinks that you are doing your own thing. So that's why. Eventually, I think I would like to have like a reset button or something. I'm giving away the good stuff. So a reset button eventually for spell slots. But at the moment, that is how it's working. All right, moving on. We got that. Pretty big here are the companion and the proficiency pages. So we'll see here. As you can see here, saves and skills was renamed from proficiencies. So it was named proficiencies. Now we're changing it to skills, to saves and skills to be, a little bit more exact on that. And then proficiencies is the new page here. So you see here, you got your weapon, armor, tools, and languages, and then the other proficiencies box that's down at the bottom now. It's just a text box to edit. So basically this page is going to show you all that stuff. If you press the plus button, you can select things and then be done. And then you can also, if it is a specific item, like if you press simple range, it's just going to bring up the filter. But if you pressed an item, like a single item, like so the bard has like long sword, short sword proficiencies as single items, then you can press it and kind of look at the details as well. Let's see here. Then tools as well. That's going to be pretty big, or it hasn't been tracked as well yet. So you'll have that as well. And then languages is another thing that's being tracked here as well. So that will be really nice. We're still working through all the bugs of making sure things get set when character creation is finished. So kind of keep an eye on that. Like you'll be able to set it here, but there's a chance that it might not get set right when you open your character sheet. So just kind of look at it, and then if you find errors, let me know, and then I can kind of try to recreate it and then make sure we start handling those cases as we find them. So bug testing and your help will be very appreciated. All right, so moving on, then there was an issue with magic abilities not showing their you know, it's if you made a custom weapon, it wasn't showing its own properties. So like if you added special features to it, add magical features to it, it wasn't showing those. So those are now displaying properly when you look at the spell card. And then there was a bug where if you had spells in the bottom half, and you had no spells, then the cell was really large. It was way too big, so fix that issue. And then we can look at the companion page here. You like my little horsey that I made? So there's a little horse, and you can add a picture if you want. So here is the companion page. You'll be able to track the current HP, you know, the armor class, you know, have abilities, and then notes as well. If you are a druid, this is going to be where your wild shape actual stats are going to go. In comparison to when we had old features, it gave you the card, but it didn't actually show you any, you know, you weren't able to keep track of any details of it. You weren't able to keep track of any of the hit points. Now you're going to be able to do that with this. The easy thing that you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to select one and then be able to insert all the information to it. So when you go into wild shape, for example, you'll be able to, you know, pick whatever one you want to go into, and then it will add all the statistics in there. You know, it won't change your name or anything if you named it something fancy, or if you actually have a companion like a ranger or whatever. It won't change the name, but it will add all of the, you know, hit points and speed and stuff like that. Moving forward, speed is going to break out just like it does for your character. You know, it's going to have the different values and stuff like that. And then eventually I would like to be able to roll these as well if they have damage. But right now it's just visual, and then you can roll it elsewhere. So that is the companion page. First version, like I said, there's a lot of room for improvement, but just having it there and giving you at least the option to put stuff in there rather than having nothing and just writing it in a big text box, I think it's a lot better for the moment. All right, so those are the two big pages. Something you'll also notice is so I've been doing a couple polls lately with the Discord channel. So if you want to get in on that, you can kind of look in the announcements channel, and I put polls there, and you can vote in those. So one of the polls was, what order do you like your character sheets in? So basically, if you didn't know, you can actually move the character sheet pages around. So if you long press an item, you can hide it or move it to the top or bottom. Eventually, this is not actually, you know, the best way to do it. Obviously, it'd be better if you could, like, you know, drag and move it and that sort of thing. But now you know, we'll change it eventually. But there's now going to be a new default order. So you can see that here. Basically, it's going to be your main sheet. Basically, this is going from the poll details on what everybody wanted the order to be. So I changed it to that. So that is the new order. As you can see, I need to do a little bit of testing so that it doesn't affect your current order. But with the pages, there might be with some of the page changes, there might be some issues that we have to sort out. Or if you have any questions or concerns, or you run into any problems, just make sure to come to the Discord and ask questions, and I or somebody else can help you out. All right, another big change requested by the community is all the features are now going to be on one page. So you can see here, this used to be divided into 3. And now it's all on one. I think my main concern with adding them all together was if you have a really in-depth class. So let's say you're playing the Mystic, right? The Mystic is this huge, obnoxious amazing, super OP class, right? And it's got features that are so long. And here you're in the middle. Let's say you're in the middle here and you're on feature 5 of 20 and you're in the middle and there's no way to collapse it. So that was my main problem. Then you would have had to scroll all the way to the top and press the thing and then collapse it. So that was my main problem. So basically what I did, you'll see in the bottom right, there is a new button that pops up when you have one of the things open. So you can press that and it collapses all of them. So you can easily switch between which one you want to have open without having to have access to the top of the bar. So I think that's going to work really well. So that should be good. Another thing that you can see here, here's my little test with languages, tools. If you have it, you're going to be able to look at the card and, the language or whatever, that sort of thing. So also something that I found is if you had a selection feature with 2 different types. So for example, let's say you made a fighting class or a fighting styles and meta magic random feature, and the selections were in the same feature and they were different levels, it was giving a weird text error. So after this update, if you ever run into any weird stuff and you want to reset it, there is an option to do that. You can there's a button here, reset features, and that resets all of your selections, your tracking features. And this button may be necessary as we continue to make improvements to the custom creator. But that if you that's just kind of to go through the process. If you can't figure it out or you can't fix it yourself manually by changing things, you can try that and that will reset them all. All right. There was another thing that was fixed was there was a weird red outline on the spell page. That is fixed now. On this page, there was a weird outline. Basically, I was using it for testing while I was testing orientations, so to see where the outside border was, and I forgot to turn it off. Okay, let's see. I think that is about it. A lot of cool stuff coming. I think improvements to or more options for selections is great. I think my only thing with that is it's all nested inside of selections. So like if you were to create a feature, right, and you're on special effects. So the main thing when I did custom features is I want it to be what you were selecting. So like ability scores rather than distribute points. I think I'm kind of moving away from that accidentally with selection groups. As you can see here, if you look down on the list, languages is right there, but right now it's nested inside of selections. So basically I have it saving correctly. I just need to kind of move it back out so that we're still following the same format where it's like if you were trying to add a language and you looked in this list and you saw languages, you're like, oh, I guess it's not out yet, but really it's in selections right now. So basically I need to move it out, but all right. Well, this was a very long and rambling video, 18 minutes. Good stuff. It's good to be back, good to be out of taxes and tax season to finally get back into working on things. So make sure to reach out in the Discord if you find any bugs or report or, ask for any new features and things like that. I monitor it on a regular basis. If you made it this far, gold star for you. I hope you guys are all excited for the stuff coming forward. I think we're really getting close, seriously, to like reaching full power. Full power. All right, that's it. Later.